remember, we can, people buy 1,000 gallons of gasoline, right?
Yeah.
And that costs $4,000. We can take 1 gallon of water and produce 1,000 gallons of oxyhydrogen gas. 1,000 gallons of gasoline costs $4,000. Our 1,000 gallons of oxyhydrogen gas is 1 gallon of water for us. And if we make the water, it's about 1/100th of a cent to replace $4,000 worth of gasoline. See, 1/100th of a cent, Monty. This is not an exaggeration, okay? And that's on the short end. We can go as high as sometimes 1,800 multiple, meaning we can almost replace 2,000 gallons of fossil fuel, with oxyhydrogen fuel that cost us less than a penny.
So what stage are they in?
Well, we're building a prototype. We're 70-80% of the way through on that. But that's not the biggest news. The biggest news is my partners just made a jump to where the oxyhydrogen is great because of the multiple, how you can turn 1 gallon into, the value of 1,000 to almost 2,000. But what they've done is they've found a way to burn water without going the hydrogen step. So now they're burning water, plain water, pure water, in a dune buggy. They've got a scooter that's running on pure water for fuel. So the byproduct is just water vapor. We don't pollute anything. And then the biggest thing is now this can be converted to machinery and especially to ships on the high seas. So here's the point. All the giant cargo vessels, there are several 100,000 of them, all the giant shipping, vessels, the giant cargo ships and vessels and oil tankers and all the rest of that, they can now suck water from the ocean, use it as fuel, and spit it right back, the waste right back in the water. And what the waste is water vapor. So, there's literally like almost no cost for them anymore. So we can sell like $10 billion in licensing for this in the next 3 to 6 months. By the way,
the engines are retrofitted somehow. They don't need new engines, right?
What's that?
The engines don't need to have new engines. You just need to retrofit it, correct?
Correct. They don't need to do hardly anything.
What's the cost?
In some cases, just change timing chains, like on cars, things like that. Just change the setting. That's all.
Uh-huh.
And so this is ready technology. It's operating, and they're able to show it, prove it to anybody on Earth. And so sometime in the month of January, I want to take people down there.
Where?
It's the Sarasota, Florida area, or Tampa area.
Okay.
So, but they can sell, just in licensing, they can sell $10 billion in the next 6 months, and because it saves like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions in fuel costs.
Yeah.
It's
they've
amazing.
had water engines, since the 30s or 40s, I guess.
Yeah, they started that a long time ago, but this one, nobody has reached this level of proficiency that anybody knows of anywhere on Earth. But my partners who used to be, quality control guys for NASA, propulsion fuels and all that, rocket flights and all that, and the space shuttle, and even moving vehicles when they're outside of our atmosphere. That's what these guys did. And so for 25, 30 years, they've been working with water and hydrogen. And they tell me that they are absolutely convinced that no one else on Earth has this at this moment. So it's a good time to jump on it.
Do we have some working agreements that you can get to me somehow?
I'm literally putting one together right now.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So, and see what it does though, is it converts the greater world from burning polluting fuel sources to non-polluting fuel sources, and much, much less expensive. And if you want to move humanity toward long-term survival, you got to do that.
Yeah. Well, I just watched the movie Chernobyl, and that's pretty disgusting. What happened there?
Well, yeah, but I got that covered too. I've got guys that have radiation nullification technology, and they're my number 2 project by priority. And they can shut down Chernobyl and Fukushima 100%.
Well, why aren't they?
100%.
Why aren't they? This is my question then.
Because they haven't. They're just getting there now.
Oh.
They're literally just getting there now. They had General Wesley Clark came out 3 times, saw the technology. He said it was the most impressive thing he's ever seen since his daughter was born 35 years ago. Also, they had 6 of the top nuclear scientists in the world come out. And every one of them said they couldn't sleep that night after seeing it because they never thought they would dream to see something like that in our lifetime.
Well, I heard it was going to be 40 to 100 years before someone figured out how to fix Fukushima. So that's good that we're ahead of schedule with this.
Yeah, it's crazy because they said what they're doing with Fukushima is they're moving thousands and thousands and thousands of tons of dirt that's all radioactive contaminant. And all they're doing is they're trying to move it somewhere else. And what happens is all of the vehicles that they used, whether it's, shovels, trucks, forklifts, any of this, they can't get near them anymore because they're all radioactive.
Right.
And it's still pouring 300,000 to 800,000 gallons of radioactive contaminated water into the ocean every day.
Every day, yeah.
And they think that by 2040 or 2042 or something that they probably can get it under control. And so these guys can get it under control, I think, in 12 weeks.
Well,
like that.
I mean,
100% in 1 year and 2 months, 100% everything.
Well, I interviewed the accountant that works for Fukushima, and he was telling me that they build a tank every day. They have for the last 8 years, every day. It costs $2 million to build the tank, and it holds 1 million gallons, and it's bolted together. And then so there's a sea of tanks on land holding the really, really bad radiated water, and that's only going to last so long. So all those tanks are going to have to be treated, and of course the hundreds of thousands of gallons every day that have been polluting the Pacific for the last 8 years. That's going to be fantastic to be able to fix that. And I do a show every night on Fukushima, a 1 hour show every night.
My God.
I have a website called HelpUsSaveThePlanet.org, and it's basically we have Dana Durnford do a broadcast every single day on Fukushima.
Well, guess what? These guys have solved it. They can take 700 million year life of radiation, 350 million year half-life, and they can completely neutralize it in 3 hours.
I like to see that.
I'm telling you, but I'm saying Sandia Labs, Oakridge Labs, Lawrence Livermore, they've all seen it. Everybody now is seeing it for the first time. And it's just reached this stage. So they have the ability to shut down leaking silos with nuclear missiles. They can shut down Fukushima and Chernobyl 100%.
Well, I want in. You know me, I love great projects like that.
And that, too, is worth billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a total game changer.
Yeah. Well, the fact that it's doing good is the most important thing.
Yeah, and they're asking me, hey, Doug, can you help get us funded for our last step here? Because it already works. We've already proven it. We just need some money to complete everything.
Well, let me send you the questionnaire that I have. If they can answer the questions on the questionnaire, they have all the money they need.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Great.
And give me some working agreements. Get us some working agreements, and let's raise some money for them.
Yeah,
there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of money out there.
And by the way, they're meeting tomorrow. The 3 partners are meeting tomorrow. So they
Where?
called me just about an hour.
What city?
Half hour ago.
What city?
They didn't tell me that, but they're getting together, and they said they want to talk as soon as they're done with their meeting. So so they've called me this morning and said, Doug, do you want to help close this out? Because we're ready to go.
Well, I want to help. Great. Let's do it together.
And see, for me, the thing that's important about this too, not only the practical application and consequences of, this stuff, but it's also for our messaging, our Earth Day 50 Live project. It's a concert. It's a big celebration. It's a broadcast. It's a kind of a call to arms. It's, a call to people to wake up and start helping to create a really dynamic, powerful environmental movement that, helps secure humanity's future. But I call the content segment of the show Earth Day 50 Live GPS. And we'll flash GPS on the screen, and we'll say, well, here we are, welcome again to our Earth Day 50 Live GPS global problem-solving segments.
Okay, I like
and
it.
Messaging, where we're going to show you the science and the technologies and the products and services that exist already that can start to literally turn around our global environmental crisis. And if enough human beings get behind this, rescue humanity from itself and from this existential threat.
Well, the scientist who discovered the anti-radiation thing, I want him to receive the Fantastic Scientist Award.
Oh, there you go. I mean, this would be a perfect scenario for that.
Yeah.
Because this is like one of the most obviously dangerous, ominous, threatening, and extraordinary, positive outcomes and solutions, because we can go clean up the world.
Right.
So, there's a lot of cool stuff. We're connected with some people who their goal is to plant 1 million coral reefs,
Mm-hmm.
and they're artificial, but they're stronger than coral reefs, because, you see how coral will attach itself to a sunken ship a lot of times.
Well, we lost a lot of coral, so I know that's a disaster.
Yeah, and so planting 1 million coral reefs and reinforcing them, they're mineral reinforced. And so it makes them stronger, healthier, more resistant, more resilient, all that. It's some pretty cool stuff going on out there.
It's a very exciting time that we live in. The 20s are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, that's right. Back to the roaring 20s, right. So listen to this. I may have told you this, but I'll just remind you that prior to our broadcast, my 2 hydrogen partners are leaving Tampa, Florida. They're driving to San Francisco to Stanford University, 2,000 miles, in the biggest RV available. And they've chosen to take the biggest RV available because the biggest RV normally, to travel the 2,000 miles, requires about 600 to 650 gallons of diesel.
Right.
Which pollutes a lot. It costs a lot. And that's the whole point, is the contrast, because they're not going to stop at any filling stations, and they're going to make the entire trip on 3 gallons of water, which costs us less than 3 cents to make. And so they're going to travel 2,000 miles, not on $2,500 worth of diesel, 650 gallons. They're going to make it on 3 gallons of water, and it's going to cost 3 cents for the biggest RV to cross the country.
Well, I want to be on board and document it with the Dr. Fantastic.
Listen, there are a couple of camera crews coming, and it's going to be a party, because there's already a caravan of 300 vehicles.
Oh, really? We drove cross country in the most polluted rig on the planet with a bridge truss, and we put our EMF technology on it, and it brought it down to zero, because that truck wasn't going to be able to pass certain states, because it was so big and polluting, because there's not many trucks that can carry a bridge truss. And we put our EMF reducer on it, and it blew zero across country. So we have I have that technology as well, reducing.
How come the world ain't jumping on that one?
Well, it's a good question. The scientists behind this, are sometimes kind of fickle, but no, I've proved it many times. I actually proved it with a phone. The smog machines that they had, test your smog. We tested many times, cars and trucks, and then we pointed the phone with the smog reducer on it at the vehicle after it's been tested, and in front of your eyes, I have this on video, in front of your eyes, the zero, it went down to zero emissions. And so I have a couple of those still in my car that I'm selling. We sell them for like $300.
Great.
Yeah, so there's lots of technology out there, but it's disruptive. And you know the reason nobody goes for the disruptive technologies.
I know. Well, look, in our hydrogen environment, I brought a guy named Yul Brown. The oxyhydrogen is called Brown's gas. it's known worldwide as Brown's gas because Yul Brown was one of the two greatest hydrogen scientists ever, and he was murdered along with 5 or 6 of the others.
That's why these things don't come out, because they're disruptive.
Yeah, but we're reaching a point right now where, you know what, murdering the entire human race is not an alternative. See, so it's the writing is on the wall. They can't stop it. Not anymore.
They do want to reduce the numbers, though. They say 7.5 billion's too many.
Yeah, some do. Some definitely do. But listen, one other thing you might think about with that technology you're talking about is right now, probably the most dangerous thing is that China has come out a dominant superpower in the 5G technology. And China is, selling it and licensing it around the world. They want everybody to be using the 5G transmission technology, And the problem is that's automatic cancer for
no question. I'm an expert on 5G. The Russians in '77 wrote a report, said when it comes out, it's going to be disastrous.
Yeah, it's completely, it won't kill everybody in a minute, but it should kill everybody eventually. So the thing is, I'm wondering what your technology might do in terms of neutralization of those ill effects. But the guys that I'm working with on the radiation nullification, they are developing a transmitter that can transmit a field that neutralizes all the harmful effects of 5G.
Well, I have that as well with the EMF, but I sent you, as a thank you for being on the board and being a ambassador of positivity, a free EMF reducer in your email. You have that right now. You probably didn't even check your email. And all you have to do is put it on as a screensaver. And I've got a video on the email I sent you to show how it works. Doug, you're going to blow your mind if you open up that email. I gave it to you for free.
All right. Listen, I will do it. I love it. And plus, I don't want to fry my brain either. So,
watch the video. I did it in real time. I took the EMF reducer off the phone. It had the reader there. They have machines that read the EMF. It was 0. I took it off as a screensaver. It went crazy, and then I put it back on, and it went to 0 again, right in front of your eyes, real time video. And we're selling them for $19.95. And but they're free to people like you and people that are on board. And it's without having a civil world, and if we're dead, it doesn't do much good to be civil if we're all dead,
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm glad to work with you on all these kind of things. Hopefully, I can do some stuff with your Earth Day with the Be Fantastic movement. Get in there on that and be part of it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, all right. Well, let me look that up when I get back.
Yeah, it's in your email.
So, okay, cool. And then we'll stay in touch on this other stuff because this is super hot stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, look, the human, the way I characterize it, because I've had a little rehearsal time, for Earth Day 50,
right, is
there's an extinction level threat that's barreling toward the human race at faster and faster velocities.
Yeah.
And the degrading effects, the degradation of our life support systems is exponential, and it's going a lot faster than anybody thought.
Right.
And so, the time has come for humanity to wake up and to rescue itself from itself. And yes, there are multiple causes of global warming. We may not be able to change solar cycles, but we should be able to at least improve the part that we play in accelerating the greenhouse effect and global warming. So
they're calling Fukushima an ELE, extinction level event.
Well, that is too.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Because given enough time, it will poison all of our ocean.
Well, 70% of the Pacific, they're saying, has been contaminated because of that one accident.
I would be surprised. And you remember this? We tend to talk about, I think, we have like 5 oceans. No, we don't. There's only one ocean.
One ocean, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. All right, Monty.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay, hold on one second.
Yeah.